Hello guys, this is FK, and in this AI dictionary video, we're going to be learning about AI agents. So if you want to know what AI agents are all about, let's get started. So simply put, an AI agent is simply an LLM that can take actions. Yeah, you can end the video right now. An LLM that can take actions. Now, to understand how AI agents came to be, or what they're all about, first we need to understand how these LLMs work, how chatbots work, the typical chatbots that we've been working with. So basically, you have a prompt. Let me get my pen. Yeah. So you have a prompt, which is your question or your query. Then you send it to typically a chatbot. You send it to the chatbot, which is powered by an LLM, which is a large language model, and you get a response. Prompt, which is your question, your task, or anything you're trying to ask Gemini or ChatGPT to do. You feed it in. The chatbot is powered by an LLM, or even if you are using it through the API, everything is powered by an LLM, and you get a response, which mostly comes as text, but now we have multimodal responses in some of the very, very new models. So you can have some image generation or some audio generation. So that's typically what has been happening, but nothing aside that. Yeah, nothing aside that. Nothing aside this prompt response cycle. Nothing aside that. This LLM can't actually take a real world action. Yeah, they can't perform real world tasks. So it got to a point, this was cool, but we needed more. We needed more. The power of these LLMs is so much that we can't just limit them to prompt response cycles. We need them to actually take real-world actions. We need them to take real-world actions. For example, if they can, let's say, break down your holiday plans, why can't they book your reservations? Why can't they go on Amazon and purchase some of the things you need? For example, like a weekender bag and stuff like that. Or probably, you're going to ski, and when they break down the holiday tasks, your itinerary and everything, why can't they take actions like booking your flights, like making hotel reservations, or even buying you those ski equipment that you need for your skiing? So we need them to take real world actions. And to do that, we give them tools. We give them tools. Because to perform an action, for it to perform an action, it needs a tool that can take the action. So we start feeding them with things like, let's say, a tool for browsing the web. A tool that can browse the web and click buttons. So this can actually make orders on Amazon. We can give them a tool that can send email. We can also give them tools that can, let's say, let me get rid of this. Let's say post to a Slack channel. Post to a Slack channel. So basically, we connect our LLM to tools, and that's what makes up an agent. Yeah, that's what makes up an agent. We have the LLM, and with tools, the LLM can prompt these tools to take an action. For example, use a browser to go to a website and make a purchase, take your email credentials and send an email, or give it your Slack credentials and it can send Slack messages to your company channel. So now we have the LLM, which now functions as the brain of an agent, and we have tools, which are your action takers. Tools which are your action takers, and the combination of these two forms an AI agent. So with this, you can tell the LLM to perform a research, and after it's done with the research, why stop there? Convert this research into an article, write it out, the table of contents and the article itself, and put it in a Microsoft Word document, or put it in a Markdown file and publish it to, let's say, Medium, or publish it to dev.to. So we have the LLM functioning as the brain, and the tools as the action takers, and everything making up an AI agent. And this way, we are able to get more out of our large language models. We are able to get more out of our large language models. And we can even go as far as making them the brain of our software, the brain of an entire software. So instead of hard coding all the different conditions in the software, the LLM is going to determine what those conditions are going to be based on user input, based on environment, and it's going to use the different modules within the application, within the software applications, to actually take action. So you basically have something that can think for itself and determine the best action to take based on its breakdown. Now, we can also improve our agents. Our agents. It's not limited to just giving them tools. We can give them memory. Let me try and draw a brain here. I said this is a brain. So we can give our AI agents memory. Now, memory allows our AI agents to retain information and use it as context for future actions. Yeah, they can retain information and they can use it as context for a future action. And this memory can be divided into two. To discuss memory, let me get another frame. So let's say AI agent memory. So we have two types of memory. So memory here, that's the first thing we're discussing amongst the things that we can use to enhance our models. So we can give them memory, and this can be divided into short-term memory and long-term memory. So what's short-term memory? Short-term memory is basically keeping information in a session. Yeah, retaining information in a particular session. Let's say they're meant to perform an action. For example, let's say they are trying to help you book something on Amazon. So within that single action, they're going to an agent is going to browse for, let's say, shoes on Amazon. It's going to browse shoes on Amazon and it's going to pick the one with the best prices. And all this data, it's going to keep it within that current session so that it can then present it to you. And you can decide whether it should autonomously make the purchase based on your conditions, probably best prices or quality or brand. And or you can present it to you and you can have this human in the loop part, which was also going to talk about human in the loop, where you then say, okay, buy this one, buy this. So it needs to remember its research, it needs to remember its options, and at the end of the day, it will use all this information to take its final action. So that's short-term memory within a session. Long-term memory is for something you probably did yesterday or something I did days ago or weeks ago, depending on how long you want the memory to persist. So you can give it long-term memory, and these are saved in more powerful databases. So that's one thing we can use to enhance our AI agents. We can also give our agents more knowledge. Let me just represent that by, let me say these are books or files or something. So we can give our AI agents more knowledge, because LLMs are trained up to a point and they are mostly trained with public data. But when you are using it in the context of an agent, sometimes you want it to perform a task that requires information that is specific to you. So you can give it private data. Let's say information about yourself, your school, your work history and stuff like that. This can be personal data, or data for your organization. For example, if you want it to perform some actions on behalf of your organization, then you need to provide it some private data about your organization. So you can also enhance it with knowledge. Another way you can extend your AI agents is to give them a human in the loop, is to introduce human in the loop steps. Let me just assume this is a human. So human in the loop. Now, this is something that I consider very, very important for agents, because most of the time we appreciate them because they can be autonomous. But there are some sensitive actions that you don't want your agents to just perform. For example, deleting files, updating files even. You don't want them to just perform it, because this can be very, very sensitive information, and probably they are actions that are irreversible when done. So you want your agents to get to a point where they can prompt you and tell you, okay, this is what I have up to this point. What do you want me to do next? And you can be able to tell them, okay, this looks fine. Go ahead and update it. Okay, go ahead and delete these files, or nope, just ignore these files. Delete these ones instead. So this is also something that we can introduce, because it brings a lot of control to what agents can actually do. You don't just want agents to run wild. It can become very, very disastrous if you don't put the proper guardrails in place. So we have memory, we have knowledge, and we have human in the loop. Those are some of the things that you can use to enhance your agents. There's still so many stuff that we cannot cover in this video because it's just a dictionary type of video. We're just defining stuff. But I hope that you've been able to understand what AI agents are all about, and that's AI agents.